Welcome back to my channel. So today I am here to do my reading wrap up of the middle grade books that I have read. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have the series of Anne of Green Gables. So I have Daddy Longlegs, Tracy Beaker, Alice in Wonderland, The Trading Impossible Places, and David Wallaga to Midnight. So the first book that I have is Daddy Longlegs, and this book, when I tell you, this book is written by Gene Webster, and I don't like giving spoilers, but I will give some of, some highlights. So this book is about a young girl, and this girl has been in the orphanage. She's really studious. She's very good academically, and this orphanage is run by these rich people, and the time has come for her to leave the orphanage and go out into the world. But when her file came up for review, there's this one man that saw, an essay that she wrote, and to him, she's really intelligent, she could be somebody. So he plans that he's going to send her to university to become an author. She's an author, yes. And he's going to fund everything. He's going to give her money to live on, and etc., etc. But the orphanage must not let her know who he is. And she is to write him letters every month, giving him an update of what is happening in her life academically. So this book, oh my gosh, the ending really surprised me, like absolutely. Definitely 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read, and I audioed that book, is The Midnight Gang. So The Midnight Gang is about these group of children who basically stays in the hospital because of their injuries. Some of them has been there for a while, some of them, and during the night there's this janitor who takes them on these imaginary or not so imaginary adventures. And I can tell you that this book was really enjoyable. This book was written by David Williams. He's such a good author. I definitely recommend this book. The adventures are hilarious. It will have you at the end of your seat while you're reading this book. And I wonder if it have a movie for this book, because I definitely want to see this movie. But I so enjoyed this book. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited about this book. I want to see the movie. The next book I read is about the story of Tracy Beaker, and I can tell you, I laughed so hard. I swear my neighbors probably thought I was going crazy, but I laughed so hard when I read this book. She's about this as a girl who lives in this orphanage, and Tracy Beaker along with the rest of the girls. So Tracy writes and she talks about her experiences in this orphanage, and oh my gosh, Tracy does things that it is hilarious. It is dangerous. Not dangerous to harm anybody specifically, but Tracy Beaker, Jacqueline Wilson has written such a lovely middle grade book, and I want to read anything by Jacqueline Wilson now. Tracy Beaker meets this young lady who writes, and Tracy Beaker wants to be, just like her, and Tracy Beaker wants her to take her to live with her, and Tracy Beaker has this imagination in her mind, one day her mom will come and take her away, and she keeps telling all the children this, and oh my gosh, this book, like, look at her, isn't she so cute? I really enjoyed this book. The next book I read, again, is Anne of Green Gables. So I literally like the Anne of Green Gables. I have Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island. I have Anne of Windy Poplars, Anne's House of Dream, and Anne of Ingleside. So this series is about a young girl called Anne. Anne is my name as well. So it's about a young girl called Anne who is an orphan, and Marilla and Cuthbert wanted this young man to help with the farm, because Marilla thought, her brother was growing old. They needed somebody who is a young man, who is strong, who will be able to help with the farm. And they sent a request letter to an orphanage requesting that they get a boy. When he goes to the train station, he sees this young little redhead girl sitting on the bench with her luggage, and she's most excited, and he's like, but he gets there a little bit late, and he's like, but we didn't request a boy, you're a girl. And she said, so what happened if I'm a girl? But he couldn't leave her there, so he took her back home for the night. And on the way back home, somehow he realizes that this young girl is so full of nature. She's vibrant, she is such a kindred spirit, and I love people who are kindred spirits. I love adventurous people. She loves nature. She talks to the trees, she talks to the bird, and he is somehow smitten with Anne immediately. So when he takes her back home, Marilla says, we can't keep her. She's a girl. What are we going to do? And begs them to keep her. It so happens that in the end, they do keep her, and they grew so fond of her. They changed her name. She became Anne Shirley Cuthbert. And it's a whole adventure and a whole from when she's a wee little girl to the time when she meets the love of her life, Gilbert. She bursts the slates over his head, and until they get married, they have children. It's a really, 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 really lovely, absolutely lovely middle grade series. It's recommended for children and recommended for adults. I would recommend this series of books any day, anytime. And I have read this book many times in my life, and I know I would read it again. Like, again, it's a book that you can read again and again. So it's definitely a absolutely wonderful spring read. The next book I read again is Alice in Wonderland, and looking through the looking glass. Sorry, and everybody know the story about Alice in Wonderland. I am fascinated that Alice is so adventurous, and Alice, she tries so many things. And what I like about the book Alice in Wonderland is that this book has some quotes, and the stories in the book can take you on to the end of your life. Meaning, there are some of the quotes in the book that could apply to your entire life as long as you live. When they talk about the bend and the fork in the road, and the Cheshire Cat say, we are all mad. It's so true. And this book is like 10 out of 5 stars, if you know what I mean. I definitely recommend anyone to who loves to read, who have kids, to read Alice in Wonderland. And I have this lovely copy here that it's gonna go in my library, and I want to set up my middle grade library soon, so I would definitely show that as well. I set up my journal for middle grade library spread. So when I read a book, I do a journal spread, and I stick a picture of the book cover in the journal. So I have that journal. I would link setting up that journal down below. The next book is The Train to Impossible Places by P.G. Bell. I'm currently reading the other book, which is The Great Train Robbery. So this train goes to impossible places in the book. And what happens when they work at night, wherever they are delivering stuff, the occupants of the house are not supposed to be awake. But one night, this young girl is awake, and she sees the train comes into her living room. She is most shocked that everything is transformed. And she meets the little, he's not like a hobbit, but he's like a gnome hobbit mixed together. And she tells him, I want to know about this. What are you doing in my living room? And he's like talking to someone and saying, we got to shut down her brains. You got to make her forget. And she's very, very full of speech. And she's saying, you can't shut down my brains. My brains belong to me. And he's amazed by this little girl. She somehow convinces him to carry her on the rest of the journey. She goes with him to make his delivery. One of the delivery is to this like sorcerer or something, sorceress, and her name is Lady Crepuscular. So there's a picture of Lady Crepuscular right here, and this is her. This is the little driver of the train. And when she goes up to her, she says, Lady Crepuscular says, you're 30 minutes late. I'm taking 30 minutes away from your life. And she says, well, I don't really care. You do what you want. You go ahead. And she's from your life, etc., etc. But while she's speaking to her, she's hearing a voice saying, help me. And in the package, there's this like globe, this like one of those snow globes kind of thing. And she's hearing a voice, not knowing this is the boy that holds the key to the impossible kingdom of all impossible places. And Lady Crepuscular wants this key, and she wants to capture this little boy to get the key to the kingdom. So she listens to the little voice in the globe. She runs off with it back into the train, and they're off. And the whole chase ensues where Lady Crepuscular is after them. And look at this book cover. Like look at this. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love the quality of the pages. P.G. Bell has done it. I love it. I love the illustration. Whoever did the cover of this book is wow. So I wouldn't say what happened in the end though. So definitely lovely reads. I hope that actually, all my recommendations would entice you and you would read them. Let me know. So I just want to thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.